guys, this is Rick here with day 3 of my daily video challenge. And what I wanted to talk about today, first of all, was about creativity. And I'm over here downtown Sacramento over at Oblivion Comics and Coffee, enjoying some coffee and reading some books here on the table. Got a really nice shop here downtown. And so when it comes to content creation, which I think I'm going to probably do this entire series on, which I find the most fascinating and the most comfortable thing to talk about, is what it means to be somebody who's creative when it comes to either gaming or YouTube or podcast, anything like that. There's a couple of different things that I'd noticed that everyone seems to do, and everybody's artistic in their own way. You know, some people are either really good artists and they can draw, like in graphic novels and in comic books, and other people are really good with music or with Photoshop skills, on and on and on. Even sound engineering to me is a new fascination of mine of how complicated it can be to get sound to work perfectly. So everybody is creative with something. You don't have to be good at drawing Spider-Man with a pencil and paper to be creative. There's so many different things that you can do as far as with what makes you. And I decided to use the backdrop of comics and art because one of the things that I've always tried to do is try to incorporate art into the podcast with poster arts and graphics and things like that. And I'm not really an artist anymore like I used to be. When I was 18 years old, I think my number one goal in the world was to be the artist for Spider-Man or something like that. And as you grow up, your goals have to change. But it has never stopped me from enjoying or appreciating the artistic style of black and white art or line art or anything like that. And when I just started to try my attempts at podcasting, one of the things that I really always was fascinated by was how on Twitter you could put up a graphic splash page, as they call them, for people doing events or for their podcast show. And now even with YouTube thumbnails, you see a lot of artistic style that can be very personalized to the content creator. And I know everybody has a different style. They either use photography or they use artwork. I know for myself, I use stock images for my poster art for the ByeForever Show. And there's always that challenge of where do I draw my source material from, and can I do it on a consistent basis? Those are always going to be challenges that everyone faces, but the number one key for me, or my recommendation on today's video, is whatever theme you're going to start with should be well thought out before your first episode, your first series, your first video, your first podcast. You definitely want to have a theme. And what's interesting about themes is it can be overlooked, and sometimes even myself will ignore this advice and I'll forget that I should stick with a theme. So the big thing right now with what I'm trying to say with themes is just like how on your Windows operating system or even Mac, you can select a theme and it could turn it to an autumn theme, or you can change the colors from blue to gray, and it'll change the entire mood or environment for your Windows background and icons and taskbars. Everything will turn to the theme that you selected, whether it's a color theme or if it's even more than that. Well, your YouTube channel or your podcast or even your comic book, whatever it is that you're attempting to do, is going to have a theme to it, and sticking to that theme is a one of the primary ways of keeping your audience. And as somebody that used to do a Clash podcast, I really hated using stock images of Clash characters, only because I found that there was very limited supply, and typically most of the YouTube creators, they have exhausted those images to no end by flipping them, reversing them, doing everything they could to do the most with those, with that stock image art. And I always thought that that would be stale after a while, so I decided to go with a more modern look and a modern style stock images that I found. I found a source collection where I can kind of go through it and pick and choose things that kind of either interest me on a graphic level, or maybe they are semi related to one of the topics that was discussed on the podcast. But that became my theme. And I know for everyone that's listening, if they're really good with art or Photoshop, then you're even at a higher advantage, because you can actually create your own thematic element for your show. So you have several choices here, and I was doing some research a few days ago when it comes to Twitch emoji artists, which right now is a complete fascination of mine. I would love to interview somebody that does Twitch emoji art, because I don't think that they get enough respect in their field, and it's so niche that I don't know I don't know how big even that community is, but I would love to explore it on a podcast. And so there's people that are doing a lot of different things at different levels, including emoji artwork, and I think that's great. Now, there's different ways that people can do it. Like if you look at like stock, this actually isn't stock image art, but comic book art, is very nice and clean line work. You could take an image like this, and either highlight that, select it, turn it into an emoji. I mean, there's so many things that people do with artwork, including even celebrity faces. I seen actual images that were that have been used. There was a Patrick Swayze head that I've seen before. So as far as like your thematic elements, there's so many different things that you can do, and I recommend for anybody that is out there trying to do their own content creation, think about not just the show itself or the topics, but also its thematic elements. And draw inspiration from everything, not just whatever game that you play. If you're playing whatever, for a shooter game, or Clash of Clans, or Clash Royale, or even the new PUBG Mobile, Fortnite, look beyond those boundaries for inspiration. Go to different places. Like you could even come down here to a local comic shop and probably find something of interest. Find a style. Look at fonts. Look at logos. Look at artwork, and incorporate those types of themes into how you present your material, whether it be in video form, audio form, or even graphically. I would love to explore even further things with comics and games and things like that, like Penny Arcade has done for years. There's lots of different people that do different things, and you can actually make a living at it. So that's my video for today. Is thinking about your theme, thinking about where you draw your creativity from, and it's definitely something that I would love to explore. But anyways, this is my daily video for day 3. If you have an idea, or if you have a comment regarding things that you've seen other creators do that you really liked, or maybe something that hasn't been done before and you would like to see it done, I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you would do poster art or graphics or any type of thematic presentation for your content. Love to hear it, guys. All right, that is it. That's day 3's video. I will see you guys tomorrow.